One of the things that too many people in business do is they don't stick to something long enough. They try a whole bunch of different things, and if they don't immediately pan out, they move on to the next one. Why should you concentrate your forces? Why be somebody who moves and pushes one thing? Because when you do that, the likelihood of success rises.
Welcome to the Thought Leader Revolution with Nicky, Billou. Join the revolution. There's never been a better time in history to speak your truth, find your freedom, and make your fortune. Each week, we interview the world's top thought leaders and learn the secrets of how they built a 6 to 7 figure practice. This episode has been brought to you by eCircleacademy.com, the proven system to add 6 to 7 figures a year to your thought leader practice.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the podcast, The Thought Leader Revolution. I'm your host, Nicky, Billou. And boy, do we have an exciting episode lined up for you today. Today's episode is a Thought Leader Nugget, and it's a powerful one. I read a lot. Every year, I read about 100 plus books. And I'm currently reading a book called The Concise 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. And I was reading over Law 23, which is concentrate your forces. And here's what he says. He says, conserve your forces and energies by keeping them concentrated at the strongest point. You gain more by finding a rich mine and mining it deeper than by flitting from one shallow mine to another. Intensity defeats extensity every time. When looking for sources of power to elevate you, find the one key patron, the fat cow who will give you milk for a long time to come. And I got to tell you something. One of the things that too many people in business do is they don't stick to something long enough. They try a whole bunch of different things, and if they don't immediately pan out, they move on to the next one. Now, when I started podcast guesting, as an example, in 2022, I went on 100 shows before I had a single lead or sale. I wasn't getting sales results, which obviously I wanted, but I was learning. I was finding out more about how to do podcast guesting properly, and just as importantly, how not to do it improperly. And as a result, by show 101, I got my first lead, my first sale. And all of a sudden, I'm mining a ton of results here. A ton of results. Now, why should you concentrate your forces? Why should you be somebody who moves and pushes one thing? Because when you do that, the likelihood of success rises. In his magisterial book on war, Karl von Clausewitz, the great Prussian general, said, and I quote, that the best strategy is always to be very strong. At the decisive point, there's no higher and simpler law of strategy than that of keeping one's forces concentrated. In short, the first principle is act with the utmost concentration. You shouldn't be dissipating your focus. You got to always strive to concentrate your focus. Because I'm telling you, you cannot do everything, but you can do one thing really, really well. So imagine you're shooting an arrow. You can't hit 2 targets with the arrow, but you can hit 1 target. Okay. When you're shooting an arrow, your mind and the arrow and the target must all become one. only with that powerful mental focus will your physical focus follow through and create the result. So, for example, if you want to get good at podcast guesting, what you need to do is you need to focus on podcast guesting. You need to daily podcast guest. You need to study my book, Get Booked and Get Paid, and do my workshop until you understand how to podcast guest in a way that generates leads, sales, and clients. You shouldn't podcast guest for a week and then go, oh, I didn't get my clients, so you know what? I'm going to try ads. I'm going to try cold calls. No. Concentrate your focus. Go all in until you win. Concentrate your focus. There's a power, there's a beauty, there's a magic to focus. And there is only the lonely road to darkness and defeat in dissipating and flitting from one thing to another. Go for it. Focus. Decide that you're going to win in this business. Commit to getting good at podcast guesting. Get a coach, me, my book, and my workshops. And then be resourceful and do whatever it takes financially, time-wise, and energy-wise until you win. Billou out.
This episode has been brought to you by eCircleAcademy.com, the proven system to add 6 to 7 figures a year to your thought leader practice.